interesting times. For the headlines. Raptor CEO journalist Maria Ressa was freed on bail on Thursday. Venezuela's opposition leader Juan Guaido takes aim at a major source of funding for President Nicolas Maduro's regime, announcing the appointment of a new board for Citgo, the U.S.-based arm of state oil firm PDVSA. And NASA says that the Mars rover opportunity is definitely out of commission, officially closing an intrepid 14-year mission that confirmed that water once flowed on the red planet. Not even severe weather that recently rolled over the Hawaiian Islands seemed to have hindered moviegoers in Honolulu from watching ABC Films' Guerrero as it continues its North American tour. Our young Hawaii correspondent Mio Asenas has all the details. We welcome our viewers here in the Philippines and around the world. Good evening, everyone. I'm Sam Cepeda. And now to the news. Malacanang said Thursday that the arrest of Rappler Chief Executive Officer Maria Ressa has nothing to do with press freedom in the country. And I quote, Ms. Ressa, being a media practitioner and a high-ranking officer of a media outfit critical of the president's programs and policies has nothing to do with the present circumstances she is currently in. Freedom of expression, as critics of this administration erroneously suggest, is absolutely unrelated with Ms. Ressa's probable violation of the country's laws, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said in a statement. Panelo, also chief presidential legal counsel, said the arrest warrant against Ressa was issued by the court after finding probable cause.
No idea. It's been there. I've been hearing that.
And I quote, Ms. Ressa should in fact welcome this as an opportunity to defend herself and be heard before the court of law, he said. Panelo said the administration of President Rodrigo R. Duterte will respect the independence of the judiciary and will not interfere in pending cases. We are a country of laws and every citizen must adhere to the rule of law. No one is above the law, not even high-profile self-anointed crusading journalists. However, the outcome is it must be respected by everyone, for such is the law. This is how the rule of law works, he said. The Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 46 on Wednesday issued a warrant of arrest against Ressa and Rappler writer Reynaldo Santos Jr. after being charged under the provision on content-related offenses, which include libel committed through a computer system or similar means. This stemmed from a cyber libel complaint filed by businessman Wilfredo Keng in October 2017, who was named by Santos in the article titled CJ Using SUVs of Controversial Businessmen as the owner of a sports utility vehicle used by the late former Chief Justice Renato Corona. The article was published in 2012 and updated in 2014.
So I'm saying and I'm appealing to you.
Philippine journalist Maria Ressa was freed on bail on Thursday following an arrest that sparked international censure and allegations she is being targeted over her news site's criticism of President Rodrigo Duterte. Ressa stepped out of a Manila court where she posted bail after spending the night in detention at the National Bureau of Investigation, whose agents arrested her Wednesday on a cyber libel charge that carries a penalty of 12 years behind bars. The libel case against Ressa and former Rappler reporter Reynaldo Santos Jr. stems from a 2012 report written about a businessman's alleged ties to a then judge on the nation's top court. While investigators initially dismissed the businessman's 2017 complaint about the article, the case was subsequently forwarded to prosecutors for their consideration.
And for me, it's about two things: abuse of power and weaponization of the law. What we're seeing is death by 1,000 cuts of our democracy. Press freedom is not just about journalists, right? It's not just about us. It's not just about me. It's not just about Rappler. Press freedom is the foundation of every single right of every Filipino to the truth, so that we can hold the powerful to account. I want to make sure that I have done all I can. We will not duck. We will not hide. We will hold the line. And
the legal foundation of the case is a law aiming to crack down on online offenses ranging from harassment to child pornography. Resa's team has argued the legislation did not take effect until months after the story was published and is not retroactive. However, the government has countered that it is fair game because the story was updated in 2014. Venezuela's opposition leader Juan Guaido took another step in an international bid to economically starve President Nicolas Maduro's regime, announcing the appointment of a new board for Citgo, the U.S.-based arm of state oil firm PDVSA. Guaido, who has been recognized as acting president by more than 50 countries and also heads the opposition-controlled National Assembly legislature, which appointed the new board, is locked in a battle with Maduro for control of the crisis-hit country. The United States, which is leading the push to topple Maduro, has sanctioned key regime financial assets, including Citgo, and President Donald Trump once more refused to rule out military action against the leftist leader. Announcing the new 6-member board on Twitter, Guaido said it will be made up of qualified Venezuelans who are free of corruption and without any partisan affiliation. The previous board was named by Maduro, who has presided over the economic collapse of Venezuela. The country is racked by recession and hyperinflation, while millions of people are suffering from shortages of basic necessities such as food and medicine. President Donald Trump warns Venezuela that all options are on the table and demands that far-left leader Nicolas Maduro unblock U.S. aid shipments to the country. Here's more.
People are starving or close to starving, and the people within well, they have to be able to let the food in, and in many cases it's getting in. They blocked one of the bridges, but they haven't been able to block the others. They'd like to try. I think he's making a terrible mistake by not allowing that to happen. It's showing bad things. We're going to look at the legislation when it comes, and I'll make a radical left. It's a radical left, and they're going against it very hard, and they're fighting. But I think there are a number of solutions, a number of different options, and we look at all options.
Mr. President. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro mocks a meeting between his Colombian and American counterparts Ivan Duque and Donald Trump, and calls on the whole world to stand in solidarity with Venezuela in light of U.S. threats.
Hoy otra vez el presidente de Estados Unidos ha amenazado con una invasión militar a Venezuela. Y yo le pido al mundo entero, a la conciencia del pueblo, a los pueblos del mundo, le pido su solidaridad. Hoy las declaraciones son ruines de dos personas que se reúnen en vez de hablar de la cocaína que se produce en Colombia y que infecta y destruye a la juventud estadounidense. Donald Trump calla sobre la cocaína y el tráfico de drogas que va de Colombia y solo habla de Venezuela. Absoluta. Haremos respetar a Venezuela en cualquier circunstancia. Debe saberlo el señor emperador Donald Trump. A Venezuela se respeta. Tenemos una historia grandiosa.
Trump and Duque conducted a bilateral meeting at the White House on Wednesday. After the meeting, the two presidents issued a joint statement saying that Washington and Bogota were determined to work together to resolve the ongoing political crisis in Venezuela and provide humanitarian aid to the Latin American country. Maduro firmly opposes any aid from abroad, stressing that there is no humanitarian crisis in the country and pledging to prevent foreign intervention.
I think there are a number of solutions,
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu hailed Thursday as historic, a meeting in Warsaw where he is joining Arab foreign ministers to discuss shared hostility to Iran. The opening dinner Wednesday night of the two U.S. organized conference marked a historical turning point, Netanyahu told reporters.
Yesterday was a historical turning point. And a room of some 60 foreign ministers and representatives of dozens of governments, an Israeli prime minister and foreign ministers of the leading Arab countries stood together and spoke with unusual force, clarity, and unity against the common threat of the Iranian regime.
At the opening dinner at Warsaw's Royal Castle, officials said that Netanyahu spoke around the same table as senior officials of Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain, none of which have relations with Israel, but all of which share Netanyahu's hawkish stance on Iran. Israel only has diplomatic relations with two Arab states, neighboring Egypt and Jordan.
Against the common threat of the Iranian regime.
Clashes between protesters and police forces erupt on day 7 of deadly protests against Haitian President Jovenel Moïse and the misuse of the Petrocarbide Fund or Petrocaribe Fund in the Haitian capital Port-au-Prince. Mr. Moïse, who has been in power since 2017, has called for talks with the opposition to no avail so far. Opposition groups called for protests after a court report alleged that officials and former ministers had misappropriated development loans made by Venezuela to Haiti after 2008. The report also suggested that President Moïse had been involved in irregularities. Haiti is the poorest country in the Caribbean, and 60% of the population live on less than $2 a day. More than 100 children in Democratic Republic of Congo have died of measles since the start of the year, an outbreak that has added to deadly epidemics of cholera and Ebola, the UN said. Health officials in the southeast provinces of Lualaba and Lomami recorded 7,175 cases of measles in January, at least 137 of which were fatal, the UN's MONUSCO peacekeeping mission said. More than 80% of the fatalities were children aged 5 or under 5, it said. Experts have blamed lack of vaccination, poor medical facilities, and malnutrition among the young. Hundreds of people were evacuated Thursday from a hotel in downtown Singapore after explosions and a fire erupted in a room containing electrical equipment, causing blackouts in nearby buildings. The Carlton Hotel said the incident, rare for hyper, safe and efficient Singapore, was not terror-related and there were no injuries. A blaze happened in a switch room housing electrical equipment and was quickly extinguished by firefighters. They said the cause of the fire is under investigation. An Australian guest who did not want to be identified told AFP he heard two explosions about 3 minutes apart while he was standing outside the building. The incident caused a power blackout of the hotel and some nearby buildings for a short period, but electricity was quickly restored to all affected areas except the Carlton. Canadian jihadist Muhammad Ali, who joined ISIS in 2014 under the nom de guerre Abu Turab al-Kanadi, says he has been hung out to dry by the Islamic State group like other foreign fighters and appealed to his government for help during an interview at a detention center in the northeastern city of Hasakeh under the control of the Syrian Defense Forces, who are holding hundreds of foreign jihadists.
Well, you speak to my sister from time to time. I came in and learned my lesson. I mean, I guess there's a lot of bad blood between the foreigners and the Iraqis now, or the Syrians. The foreigners feel like they've been, like I said, left out, hung to dry. They've been used and abused, and now the trust is not there at all between the foreigners and the locals. The foreigners are trying to leave, trying to get back home, but a lot of the Syrians and the Iraqis, they're just melting back into the population, holding down for a while, and when things start again, they'll rise back up. And they have pockets in the desert. They've got people intermingling with the population, acting as civilians, just biding their time. I mean, I don't know, man.
NASA says that the Mars rover Opportunity is definitely out of commission, officially closing an intrepid 14-year mission that confirmed that water once flowed on the red planet. What's this?
It's therefore that I'm standing here with a sense of deep appreciation and gratitude that I declare the Opportunity mission as complete, and with it, the Mars Exploration Rover mission as complete.
The robot has been missing since the U.S. Space Agency lost contact during a dust storm in June last year and was declared officially dead Wednesday, ending one of the most fruitful missions in the history of space exploration. Unable to recharge its batteries, Opportunity left hundreds of messages from Earth unanswered over the months, and NASA said it made its last attempt to contact Tuesday evening. Food contaminated with bacteria, viruses, parasites, and toxic chemicals is a mounting health hazard and a crippling economic burden, the World Health Organization says at a global conference on food safety in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. The two-day forum is bringing together government officials and health experts from 125 countries to combat the peril of unsafe food, which kills more than 400,000 people each year, according to UN estimates.
Food security does not mean only that enough food is produced and that all people have access to the food. Food security also means that all food must be safe for consumption. So food security cannot be dissociated from food safety. Today, the world produces enough food to feed everyone, but we have clear indications that an important part of this food is not safe or healthy. The costs of unsafe food go far beyond human suffering. It can hamper socioeconomic development and overload healthcare systems. Malnutrition today is the largest cause of health loss in the world.
Of the 600 million people who fall sick from unsafe food, around 420,000 die, according to the UN's estimate. Children under 5 suffer most, comprising 40% of those who fall ill. According to the WHO, contaminated food is to blame more than 200 diseases, ranging from diarrhea to cancers, and the economic impact is huge but often overlooked. The FAO, or FAO, estimates that costs for low and middle income countries to be in the range of $95 billion, or that's 83.5 billion euros per year.
Today, we know that foodborne diseases caused by chemicals, viruses, bacteria, and parasites kill hundreds of thousands of people every year. Those most affected are children under 5 in Africa and South Asia. Today, we know that foodborne diseases caused by chemicals.
Hundreds of cooks are competing in 40 different dishes over 3 days at North Korea's national cooking competition, with the winners receiving cookbooks and equipment as well as diplomas and medals. Here's more.
우선 이유라고 내 생각에는 우선 상쾌하고 산뜻하고 깨끗하고 잡내가 없고 신선한 그 맛이 그저 기본 특징을 이루고 있다고. 자기 고유한 맛이, 물고기는 물고기, 이 닭고기는 닭고기, 자기 고유한 맛이 그대로 나는 게 우리 민족 요리 특징이라고 볼 수 있죠.
요리 경영에 대해서 놀랍다고 하는 건 우리 인민들 잘 모르고 하는 말입니다. 우리민들이 누가 제재한다고 해서 누가 뭐 쌀을 안 준다고 해서 우리가 못 살지 않습니다. 우리는 자력으로 얼마든지 자체로 살아갈 수 있습니다.
Eagle News International will be right back. Stay tuned.
Abangan ngayong linggo sa Season 2 ng Young Ones, Upon a Time.
Aaminin ko sa'yo, ika'y tunay na minahal. Aaminin ko sa'yo, walang iba kundi ikaw. Ang puso ko'y para lang sa'yo, kahit pa sinasaktan, di magbabago ang pag
Abangan yan ngayong linggo sa Season 2 ng Young Ones Upon a Time. Alas 8 ng gabi, dito lang sa Net25.
Know the latest news and information here and abroad. In Aguila, Palita, track the latest happenings in the provinces in Aguila, Provincia. Be aware of important events in Asia, in ASEAN in Focus, and be updated in the biggest news around the world in Eagle News International. Tune into Mata ng Aguila and get the day's headlines and news that are sharp, accurate, and objective. Only here at Net25.
U.S. and Chinese negotiators are set to kick off 2 days of official trade talks in Beijing as the world's top two economies try to patch up their festering economic dispute. Pressure to seal an accord ahead of a March deadline lessened before the talks as U.S. President Donald Trump indicated Tuesday in Washington he was open to extending a trade truce depending on progress in Beijing. Trump in December put on hold sharp tariff hikes on $200 billion of Chinese imports to allow time for negotiators to work out a resolution to the thorny spat. The two countries have already slapped tariffs on more than $360 billion in two-way trade, which has weighed on the manufacturing sectors and shaken global financial markets. U.S. officials, including U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer and Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, will meet with China's top economic czar Liu He and Central Bank Governor Yi Gang as the two sides aim to build on progress made in Washington last month.
Are you discussing extending the deadline?
Lower-level officials arrived earlier for what the White House called preparatory meetings starting Monday. Expectations for a trade deal have grown as China faces pressure from slowing economic growth and swooning global markets, rattled Trump and his economic advisors. Chinese President Xi Jinping plans to meet with top U.S. officials in Beijing this week. A report in the South China Morning Post said, bolstering hopes for the talks and markets in Asia. Trump also said he expects to meet with Xi at some point to clinch a trade deal.
Extending the tariff deadline.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry says the United States and other countries' safety concerns over Huawei have no solid evidence and are based on one-sided wrong interpretations of Chinese law.
我想说呢，迄今为止，在安全问题上呢，无论是美国还是他的这个极个别的盟友，都没有拿出任何确凿的证据能够证明华为对他们的国家安全构成了威胁。那么他们的理由无非就是说中国国家情报法的问题。但是我不知道你，那么外界特别是美国为代表的一些的说法呢，是对中国法律的错误和片面的解读。 因为中国的法规，我想在这个问题上，任何国家都不应该奉行双重标准，应该客观、全面、理性的、正确的来看待和处理这个问题，而不应该为自己的一己自私、打压别国的正当发展权利去寻找和编织各种各样的借口。这样的做法是极其虚伪和不道德、不公正的。
Beijing called the latest U.S. warning against using Huawei equipment groundless as the Chinese telecom giant faces espionage fears in a growing number of countries. The world's second largest smartphone maker and biggest producer of telecommunications gear has been under fire in recent months after the arrest of top executive in Canada and a global campaign by Washington to blacklist its equipment. On Monday, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said on a visit to Hungary that it would be difficult for the United States to partner with countries that co-locate Huawei equipment near important American systems. We want to make sure we identify them, the opportunities and the risks with using that equipment, he said. His comments came less than a week after a team of U.S. officials toured EU capitals, including Brussels, urging European governments to scrap Huawei 5G technology from their telecom infrastructure plans. Several Western nations have voiced fears that using Huawei base stations and other gear could give Chinese authorities access to critical network infrastructure worldwide, possibly allowing it to spy on foreign governments. European aerospace giant Airbus said it would end production of the A380 Super Jumbo, the double-decker jet which earned plaudits from passengers but failed to win over enough airlines to justify its massive costs. The firm said it would stop deliveries in 2021 of the A380, which has been in operation for more than a decade after Dubai-based carrier Emirates reduced its total order of the model by 39 planes. It marks an ignominious end to a bold bet on how millions of people would travel in the future as airlines struggled to fill a plane capable of carrying anywhere from 500 to 850 people. Airbus has been forced to slow a A380 production in recent years before warning in January 2018 that the program could be scrapped if no new orders came in. Just days after this announcement, the company appeared to get a lifeline with the latest Emirates deal, but last month Airbus admitted the airline might now be reconsidering. A statement of Airbus said it would deliver the last 14 A380s to Emirates over the next 2 years, adding that the airline had ordered 70 smaller planes from the manufacturer. Emirates' decision means Airbus has no substantial A380 backlog and hence no basis to sustain production. Despite all our sales efforts with other airlines in recent years, Airbus Chief Executive Officer Tom Enders was quoted in the statement as saying, "The result of a competition to name the European Space Agency's new ExoMars rover is revealed as Rosalind Franklin after a 20th century female DNA pioneer." At the event, Britain's Minister for Space confirmed the UK will remain part of the ESA post-Brexit, a move welcomed by the ESA's Director General. Watch this.
The name of the ExoMars rover is Rosalind Franklin. Rosalind Franklin was a great scientist who helped to unlock the secrets of DNA and the double helix. And that is fundamental to our knowledge of life, of human life. And ExoMars is going to search for signs of life on Mars, and so Rosalind Franklin is a wonderful name for the rover. So Mars rover it has a drill that can drill 2 meters under the surface. This is the first time that we've actually explored the subsurface of Mars. And if you're looking for signs of life, organic molecules, then really you have to get away from the harsh radiation environment on the surface of Mars. So we're giving ourselves the strongest chance possible of finding signs of life on Mars.
We'll be back with more news right after this break.
Matindi pa rin ang problema ng bansa sa basura. Madalas, pagtapunan nito ay ang mga gilid ng kalsada at daluyan ng tubig o mga creek at mga ilog.
Sa tuwing dumarating ang malalakas na pag-ulan o may bagyo, ang resulta, dagat ng basura. Hindi kinakatakutang puntahan para makakuha ng mga bagay na pwedeng pakinabangan o ibenta.
Batay sa mga pag-aaral, 52% ng mga basura ay tinatawag na organic waste o nabubulok. Kaya maaari itong gawing feeds o pataba na mahalaga sa mga halaman.
Ang mga hindi naman nabubulok pwedeng i-recycle. Dito pumapasok ang tatlong letrang R sa waste management. Ang reduce, reuse at recycle.
Sa tamang pagsinop ng basura, maraming magagandang produkto ang maaring magawa at pwedeng pagkakitaan. Gaya na lamang ng dekorasyon o gamit sa bahay, opisina at paaralan.
Kaya mahalagang magkaroon ng disiplina sa pagtatapon ng basura. Bukod sa malulutas ang polusyon, kay gandang pagmasdan ang malinis na kapaligiran.
Sa pagiging malikhain, makakatipid ka at pwedeng magkaroon ng dagdag na kita sa mga bagay na dapat sanay itatapon na. Ako si Mylene Mariano Rivera.
At ako naman po si Erwin Temperante.
Kaisa kami at ang programang Agila Balita sa Umaga sa pagtataguyod ng waste management sa bansa.
Residents of Montreal wake up to a city blanketed with snow after a huge weather storm hits eastern Canada, closing schools, grounding hundreds of flights, and forcing many workers to stay home. Big white fluffy snowflakes began falling Tuesday afternoon with more than 30 centimeters, or that's 12 inches, accumulated on the ground by the next morning and more on the way according to weather forecasts. Wind gusts of up to 70 kilometers per hour were also expected in the evening, blowing snow and severely reducing visibility from Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal to the Atlantic Coast provinces. A winter storm warning was in place for much of the region and travel was not advised. Nearly 250 flights were canceled in Montreal since Tuesday, while travelers described disruptions at the country's biggest airport in Toronto, where flight cancellations topped 400 as a nightmare.
C'est juste une petite tempête de neige comparativement à ce qu'on a d'habitude. Avec les changements climatiques, elle a l'air extraordinaire, mais c'est rien comparativement à ce qu'on avait d'habitude.
Pour moi, vu que c'est le premier hiver, pour moi c'est un régal quoi. C'est un régal. Moi je me lève le matin, tu déneiges la voiture et tout. C'est le top quoi. Moi je m'attendais à pire que ça. Hein.
An extreme cold warning was in effect for the Edmonton area, as well as central and northern Alberta and some sections in the southern part of the province. Thomas I. Likeness reports.
With the extreme cold temperatures in Canada's prairie provinces, probably the best place for the car is parked, preferably in a garage. The three prairie provinces, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba, have been in a deep freeze for more than a week. Temperatures with wind chill have dropped to the -40s overnight, with daytime highs in the -30s. Combined with snow at times, it has made driving hazardous because of reduced visibility. Even without the snow, streets are a sheet of ice, and the slippery conditions have resulted in hundreds of accidents in the major cities of the provinces. The cold is dangerous for those who are outdoors. Prolonged exposure can lead to frostbite and even death. In Alberta, weather has been blamed for the deaths of 2 people. The body of a 92-year-old man was found a short distance from his car, which ended up in a ditch. He froze to death, going for help. Edmonton police say a man was found frozen to death near the city's football stadium. For the homeless, finding a warm place to stay can be a challenge. Some set up makeshift tents. Others find a bed for the night at shelters, but those shelters are running at capacity. People who have to be outside cope by dressing with many layers of clothing. And this little guy, well, he has his own fur coat. The prairie provinces are unlikely to see any relief from these cold temperatures for at least a week. In the deep freeze in Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Liknes, Eagle News, I'm one with 25.
More news will be coming your way when Eagle News International returns.
Tropical cyclone o bagyo. Ang bagyo ay isang uri ng lagay na panahon na nagdudulot ng malalakas at mabibilis na hangin at pag-ulan na maaaring maging sanhi ng matitinding pagbaha, daluyong ng dagat at pag-uho ng lupa. Narito ang mga dapat gawin bago dumating ang bagyo. Una, alamin ang balita ukol sa panahon at mga anunsyong pangkaligtasan. Alamin ang plano ng komunidad sa pagbibigay babala at paglikas. Suriin ang bahay at kumpunihin ang mga mahina at sirang bahagi. Ihanda ang go bag na naglalaman ng mga pangangailangan ng pamilya. Ilikas ang mga alagang hayop sa ligtas na lugar. Kapag inabisuhan ang kinauukulan, mabilis na lumikas sa itinakdang evacuation center. Narito naman ang mga dapat gawin habang may bagyo. Una, maging mahinahon. Manatili sa loob ng bahay o evacuation center at makinig sa pinakabagong balita at taya ng panahon. Patayin ang main switch ng kuryente at valve ng tubig. Gumamit ng flashlight o emergency lamp. Maging maingat sa paggamit ng kandila o gasera. Umiwas sa mga salaming bintana. Ito naman ang dapat gawin pagkatapos ng bagyo. Hintayin ang abiso ng kinauukulan na ligtas ng bumalik sa tahanan. Umiwas sa mga natumbang puno, nasirang gusali at linya ng kuryente. Huwag gumala upang hindi maabala ang mga emergency services. Siguraduhing walang basa o nakababad na outlet o kagamitan bago buksan ang linya ng kuryente. Itapon ang mga naipong tubig sa lata, paso at gulong upang hindi pamahayan ng lamok.
Ako po si Bimbo Cerudo. Lagi po kayong manood ng Young Once Upon a Time Season 2 tuwing linggo, alas 8 ng gabi, dito lang sa Net 25.
And here's Ben Bernaldez for our sports news.
In boxing, Anthony Joshua will defend his IBF, WBA, and WBO heavyweight titles against Jarrell Miller in his U.S. debut at Madison Square Garden in New York on June 1st. The 29-year-old last fought in September at Wembley, stopping Russia's Alexander Povetkin in 7 rounds. In the NBA, Giannis Antetokounmpo posted a triple-double with 33 points, 19 rebounds, and 11 assists as the Milwaukee Bucks extended their longest road winning streak in 33 years with a 106-97 win over Indiana. Antetokounmpo had a hand in every basket in the Bucks in the first quarter and led them back from a 10-point deficit in the fourth. The three-time All-Star from Greece carried the NBA-leading Bucks to their 7th consecutive win on the road. It is the longest road winning streak since 1984-85 season. Milwaukee has also won 8 of their last 9 games just before the league's All-Star break. The Pacers couldn't contain Antetokounmpo, who scored a dozen points as the Bucks went on a 30-11 scoring burst to end the game. In the first quarter, he made 5 of their 9 baskets and assisted on the other 4. Bojan Bogdanovic scored 20 points and Darren Collison added 14 to lead the Pacers, which had their 6-game winning streak stopped. The teams were playing their final game before the All-Star break. Meanwhile, these are the results of the games today in the NBA. And these are the stories for EN Sports. I'm Ben Bernaldez, and I am 1 with 25.
Not even severe weather that recently rolled over the Hawaiian Islands seemed to have hindered moviegoers in Honolulu from watching EBC Films' Guerrero as it continues its North American tour. Our Young Hawaii correspondent Miu Asenas has all the details.
No matter how many times you fall down, you can always get back up. Good job casting crew. Great movie.
Oh, show me the moves then. You got to show the moves. There you go.
So what do you think? Do you think people should watch it? How many times did you cry in the movie? 5 times. Yeah?
After much anticipation, EBC's first full-length movie has finally arrived in the Aloha State. EBC's Films Guerrero held its Hawaii premiere at the iconic Dole Cannery Theaters in Honolulu. Hundreds have gathered at the lobby to purchase tickets, get their photos taken in front of the giant movie poster, where they also had a chance to sign their names. Throughout the whole event, passers-by, even from other movies, expressed curiosity about the film, while some wished they could have seen Guerrero instead. EBC also took the opportunity to introduce Hawaii to its record label, E25 Records, by displaying and offering the debut album by famous Filipino hip-hop artist Rapido. Guerrero portrays the life of a young boxer from the Philippines who had to endure the blows and punches in life, both on and off the boxing ring. Directed by Carlo Artego Cuevas, the movie has already won multiple awards in the Philippines and overseas, including Best Editing of Foreign Language Film at the Madrid International Film Festival in 2018. Here are just a sample of reactions from the crowd after watching the film.
It's funny, it made me laugh, it made me cry, it's a really good story. I should see it. Yes. Just never give up, always put your faith and trust in God, and He will always help you and do whatever you need to do, so just never give up.
A little unexpected with the ending, although the message was very strong and meaningful. Kept it unpredictable, which is part of the drama of the movie. So, and being a sports fan, it brought a lot of elements to the way you build character in sport and in life. The connection of never losing hope, because that's what keeps the fight, literally.
Speaking of sequels, these moviegoers had some special requests, especially for the movie's director and EBC Films.
I tell you what, why don't you guys have if you have a request to the director of this movie, what would you like to tell us?
After being released all over the Philippines and parts of Asia, Guerrero made its North American debut in Las Vegas and Saskatoon, Canada last December. It has since been shown in New York City, New Jersey, Maryland, and Virginia. Guerrero will continue its tour in select theaters across the U.S., Canada, and Europe. Reporting from Honolulu, Hawaii, I'm Miu Asenas, 1 with 25.
Aloha guys, thank you Mio. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Tumblr. Also check out our boards on Pinterest and pictures on Instagram. I'm Sam Cepeda, thanks for joining us. And I'm 1 with 25.